In this episode, I'm sharing the importance of letting go in order to grow. Listen as I share what this has meant on my journey, the big thing that I've done recently, and the beautiful reflection that life has gifted me. Hello, and welcome to the Beautiful Reflections podcast. I'm your host, Katherine Johnson, a certified professional coach, mentor, writer, and speaker. I help professional women gain the clarity, confidence, and courage to pursue their bigger purpose and vision so that they can have fulfillment and thrive in their careers. I believe there is beauty in our voices, beauty in our stories, and beauty in our journeys. There is power in community, connection, and deep, meaningful conversation, which is why me and my guests are here to share our stories, experiences, lessons, and learning to inspire you as you walk the path and step into your next level. We go deep, sharing beautiful reflections of what this personal growth journey looks like in real, living color. This journey of pursuing our purpose and vision as we continue to evolve. It is my mission to empower you to believe in your power, to embrace your own uniqueness, and to be the best version of you. I want to see you thrive purposefully. Now on to the episode for today. Hello and welcome to the Beautiful Reflections podcast. I'm your host, Katherine Johnson. Today's episode is all about why it's important to let go in order to grow. I'll be sharing what this has meant on my journey, something major that I've done recently, and the beautiful reflection that life has gifted me. Before I jump into today's episode, let me start by saying I'm really happy to be back in your ears today. It's been 12 weeks since my last episode, and a lot has transpired since then. And I'm looking forward to catching you up on all of the happenings, all of the lessons, the opportunities, and the learning that life has offered me over the past few months. It has surely been a lot. Now, let me tell you, this podcast journey is not for the faint of heart. And I knew this because someone told me this in the very beginning. But like I do with many things, I started out full speed ahead, knocking out episodes week after week since December of last year. My original goal was to commit to one episode a week for an entire year. So that's 52 episodes total. And then I decided that I would reassess at that time. I thought this was a very doable and achievable goal. In all actuality, it was. What I didn't take into consideration was life. And as we know, life happens. My schedule picked up with clients, events, a new program that I started, and an international retreat that I hosted last month. What I didn't plan for was not having 3 to 4 hours each week to dedicate to producing my podcast. So let me share with you the LOLs, or lesson, opportunity, and learning that I'm taking away from this experience. And if you're wondering what the heck is an LOL, go back and listen to episode number 3, where I discuss in depth what an LOL stands for. Let's start with the L, or the lesson. I'm taking away the R in SMART goals, which stands for realistic. Case in point, as I learned, when life got busy, it wasn't a realistic goal because realistically producing a podcast by myself wasn't something that I would always have the time and energy for. Not a weekly podcast that takes 3 to 4 hours week after week after week. The O, or the opportunity that I'm taking away, is that moving forward, I really need a great plan, a solid plan for my podcast content and my schedule, even when I get busier. And the L, or learning, that I'm taking away is I'm not going to beat myself up, I'm not going to be hard on myself, and I'm not giving up because I didn't make my initial goal. It's so easy to let the frustration of missing the mark cause us to feel like a failure. But because I believe so strongly in the LOLs, I know that there's always something for me to take away. There's always something that can help me, oftentimes in other areas of my life as well. And this was definitely the case for me, because when I reflect, I can see the results of when I start out full speed ahead. I burn out or I lose steam. Or in this case, the landscape changes and the course gets challenging as new obstacles are introduced. Remember, as the turtle would say to the hare, a slow and steady pace wins the race every time. Something I learned from my friend Joy Spencer. Check her out on the Reframe to Create podcast, where she's helping us reframe our thinking when it comes to productivity, our work, and our unique contribution in the world. Now let's jump into the episode for today. Letting go in order to grow. This is such a fitting conversation for today because on October 12th, my 39th birthday, I decided to let go of something that I've had for about 12 and a half years. Now, I know you're thinking, that's a long time. And what was it? I know, but let me give you some context first. On my journey, I've had some life-changing experiences from letting things go. From things that seem simple, like the experience of letting go of clothes. A few years ago, I completed a closet clean out as part of a program. I had to take everything out of my closet and intentionally decide what stayed and what went. And there was a huge criteria for all of this. Now, it sounds simple, but it was so hard because as I learned, it wasn't about the clothes. It was more about the stories for the clothes that I had been keeping, the stories for the clothes that I had been wearing, and the reason for holding onto the clothes that I had. I'm talking about old clothes I didn't really like, clothes that no longer fit me, and clothes that did nothing for my body type. Now, I have to do a whole nother episode on this because it was really deep, and I learned a lot about myself. But the biggest thing was that the clothes that I wore, they were not me. I picked them up from my childhood upbringing, from being in the military. You know, the military is all about conformity and everyone blending in. So when I left the military, I became a civilian and a Black woman working in tech, a very male-dominated field. And I kept all of that childhood conditioning and messaging and the military attitude of conforming, blending in, and in essence, hiding. I carried these things in the clothes that I was wearing and how I was choosing to show up in the workplace and how I was choosing to show up in my life overall. But in order for me to step into the woman I was becoming, I had to let go of not just the clothes, but the stories I had made up and the messages I had picked up along the way that were really hindering my growth, keeping me from embracing and revealing my true essence, keeping me from truly showing up with integrity and with authenticity and as my true self. I've also had the experience of letting go of a job, a very good paying job, one that I held on to for way too long. But I eventually made the decision to let it go because it didn't support what I wanted in an environment, a team, or my long-term career goals. It was toxic, it was depressing, and it didn't value the education, expertise, and experience that I brought to the role. I've even had the experience of letting go of relationships and friendships that were not nurturing me. Friendships that were just draining. They sapped my energy and they left me empty and didn't support me. Even learning to be okay when friendships ended by accepting and trusting that the right people who are for me will come into my life and stay in my life. One friendship in particular really challenged me to my core. And some days I still get really emotional talking about it and it still kind of hurts me to my heart a bit because it was one of my closest friends. We had been friends for over 10 years. And then suddenly the relationship changed. And I didn't, and I still don't understand all of the reasons why. But I thought we would be friends forever. But I had to come to a place of peace with it. I had to lean on the fact that people come into your life for a reason, season, or lifetime. And I had to be thankful for the years that we had together and be appreciative of everything that I gained during those years from the friendship. Even the memories that I would always have to cherish. And I had to have really love and compassion for where other people are in their seasons. Because you never really know everything that contributes to a person walking away from a friendship. But you have to trust that just like you, they're in a season. And they're making the best decision for themselves. And not make the decision about you. Now on to more challenging experiences like letting go of old beliefs and ways of being. Now this one is an ultimate game changer. And it's always ongoing. Because as we grow, we're constantly shedding beliefs that don't support us. They don't support our highest good and they don't support our ways of being, right? They don't support us being in alignment with the woman that we're created to be. And for me, this meant being curious, questioning and asking those tough questions of myself and being willing to be honest and telling the truth and stepping outside of my comfort zone, trying new things and often intentionally doing the different thing. Why, you may ask? Because sometimes we hold on to things because it's what we know. It's what we've become accustomed to, and it's familiar. But our greater purpose and vision will require us to let go of some things in order to grow. There is no growth without change. Nothing stays the same forever. Change is all around us, occurring every second, every minute, and every hour of each day, every single day. So the more we're willing to embrace change, the more we're able to grow, which leads me right into my next experience of letting go in order to grow that we're talking about today. On October 12th, 2021, I turned 39 years old, and I decided to let go of my hair. Yes, you heard it right. I cut off all my locks that I started growing in February of 2009. They're almost down to my butt. And I always said that when I have to put my locks up in a bun or in a ponytail, just so that they don't get on the toilet when I sit down, they were too long and it would be time for me to cut them. This was something that I had been thinking of for a couple years now, even planning for it because I knew that the time was coming. And again, it was really deeper than the locks. It was deeper than just the locks. My hair had become a thing. It had become a focal point, a distraction, and in some ways, something for me to hide behind. Not to mention, it got to the point where my hair was really stopping me from doing and enjoying the things that I like because of all of the effort that it took to maintain it. Washing it, conditioning it, and retwisting it for hours and hours and hours. I would go on trips and not get in the water because I had just got my hair done. Even though I love the water, and I've loved swimming and water activities since I can remember. Making the decision to cut my hair was an act of resistance to all of the societal messages that I've learned and even believed for most of my life. The things like long hair is better and women shouldn't have short hair. Also messaging that tells Black women specifically that our hair in its natural state is unprofessional, it looks unkempt or unruly, it's ugly, and it needs to be managed, manipulated, or even hidden with perms, wigs, and weaves. Now, don't get me wrong here. I'm not knocking a woman's choice to choose how she desires to wear or keep her hair. I am, however, rejecting all of the messaging that tell women that there is something inherently wrong with our hair. And because of that, we need to do something different with it or change it. I remember when I would tell people that I'm going to cut off all my hair, and the first thing they would say is, no, why would you do that? They would say things like, it's so long and it's so beautiful. And I'm like, yeah, I know, but I'm doing it simply because I want to. And why not? Now, I love my locks too. They were with me for many years. So letting go in order to grow is representative of me letting go of all of the messaging, the belief that my hair made me more beautiful, the belief that I should keep my hair long. It's all about me making a decision for me and a decision to love all of me. Long hair, short hair, no hair, locked hair, or natural hair. It's about me embracing and falling back in love with these natural, kinky coils. It's about me stepping into my next level, a deeper embodiment of truth and confidence. Because the woman that you and I are both called to be always stands and walks boldly in her truth. She's not looking for validation or permission from other people. She's not looking to be anything other than who she is, and she's secure and confident in who she is. Now, it's been 1 week since the big chop, and let me tell you, I'm loving my new do. I don't spend much time on my hair at all, and I'm looking forward to swimming more often and going to the beach on my next vacation and getting in the water. I thought I would have a mix of emotions when I got my hair cut, but surprisingly, I didn't. I felt really good about my decision, and I'm so happy that I did it. And I'm super excited about this next chapter of my journey. So I've shared with you a lot about what letting go in order to grow has meant on my journey. So you may be wondering, well, what does this have to do with me and my journey? How do I even know when it's time for me to let something go? In my experience, the biggest indicator is when a thing becomes a thing in your life. Rather, it's the clothes that's been in your closet for 10 years that you never wear, the clothes that are 3 sizes too small, or all of that stuff in your closet that's just there. Why? What keeps you holding onto it? And if you look at those things, what could they be symbolic of? What else are you holding onto in your life? The same goes for your job. When the job becomes the thing, it's the thing that saps your joy. It's the thing that you don't love anymore. It's the thing that's not really what you want. When your friendships are all one-sided, in which you're giving so much, but you never receive anything in return. People always seem to want so much of you, but they don't always give the same thing in return. Or you have friends in your life who tend to tear you down and never build you up by supporting your ideals, your opinions, and your bigger goals and dreams. People who bring your energy down, they bring your vibe down with their negativity and drama. When the way you are being and your beliefs do not support you in having what you truly desire, or they don't support the next level you. When we're holding onto these things, we leave no room for the new and different to come into our lives. The very things that have the capacity to elevate us and change our lives. The things that will stretch us and challenge us so that we can move forward confidently into greater purpose and vision. When I let go of the old clothes, I made room for a new wardrobe. A wardrobe that's more reflective of me and highlights my body type. When I let go of the draining relationships, it allowed me to open the door for new supporting people to walk into my life. And when I left my old job, it allowed me to be blessed with another job in which I feel value in my role and the contributions that I bring to the organization. Letting go of some of my limiting beliefs has opened me up to greater potential and new possibilities. Letting go of my ways of being has allowed me to be in alignment with my values and to bring those things into everything that I'm doing. All of this allowing me to continue to grow and evolve on this journey. So how do you get started? It all starts with curiosity and willingness. Curiosity about what's really holding you back. What are you holding onto that is no longer serving or supporting you? What in your life has become the thing or the source of stress and frustration? Next, it takes a willingness to be really honest with yourself about why. And a willingness to make a single decision to let go in order for you to grow. It's all for you to step into your next level. Now listen here, I'm not telling you to go and cut off all of your hair. I'm not telling you to cut off your people. Unless that's what you feel led to do. I'm challenging you to take a real look at your life and where you are. How much of what you truly desire is present in your life? Where are you going? Are you moving towards your greater purpose and vision? Are you working towards those bigger goals and dreams that you have for your life? Once you are aware of this, you can figure out where the gap is and close that gap by letting go of something that's holding you back. The beautiful reflection that life has gifted me is being able to see the power of one single decision and the impact that it's had on my life. Everything started with one decision. The decision to be honest, the decision to ask myself the difficult questions, the decision to step outside of my comfort zone, the decision to try new things, the decision to intentionally do the different thing, the decision to do what makes me happy, and the decision to be me. This is where all of the magic happens. Day by day, one decision at a time. And I want you to know that you're only one decision away from the transformation or the breakthrough that you've been waiting for. What do you need to let go of so that you can grow? Thank you for listening to the podcast. I hope that you enjoyed this episode. Hopefully it has you reflecting on your life, where you are now and where you desire to be. I hope that you're ready to make that one decision that will change the trajectory of your life. Now I'm back on this podcast journey, and my intention is to finish out the year. I would love to hear from you. Be sure to connect with me on LinkedIn and Instagram at Katherine N Johnson, and check out the before and after of my new haircut. Share with me the beautiful reflection that life is offering you on your journey by using the hashtag Beautiful Reflections Podcast on Instagram. Be sure to follow the podcast so that you'll never miss a new episode. And show me some love by leaving a rating and a review, and share the podcast with someone you know. Until next time.